Well, what's up, kids? Welcome back to another semi-live edition at our studio on this fine Friday. Everybody have a good week. Well, I figured I'd turn the camera back around for this week because there's nothing on my bench at the moment. I've spent all week on that Can-Am Outlander, doing of all things, just cleaning it, just trying to even get it ready for filming next week. Anybody who lives in Georgia and knows just how tough it is to extract a 4-year-old machine from the grips of Georgia red clay knows my pain that I've been through. I think it's worn me out. These clothes, you can't see, unfortunately. I might as well burn them. They're just destroyed. It's been a long week. Next week's going to be fun. We're going to be doing then we're just going to be focused in on the first thing is doing a snorkel system. And even though I live around a bunch of mud parks, spent more than my fair share of time in them, I've actually never done a snorkel kit before. So this will be a bit of a learning experience. From what I've seen online, a lot of people have the question, yeah, I've got the snorkel kit and the instructions suck and there's nobody out there that's really done a how-to video. Well, guess what? We're going to fix that, at least for an Outlander. So let's see if how well I do trying my hand at this. I guess I need to put on my microphone, huh? So got not one but two editors coming in next week to film all of this. So should be interesting. Going to be a good week. I just hope I've got all my ducks in a row and don't waste their time. All right, let's swing around and look at anything I may have missed this past week or got sent in. All right, AD had sent in. So I have a problem with my YFC 450R. I turn the key, the fuel pump primes. It turns on, runs for 3 to 5 seconds, and then turns off. I turn the key a second time. The fuel pump won't prime, and the quad does nothing. Okay, so this is definitely going to be centered around the fuel pump or the circuits associated with it. Look at three things. First, get out your test light. Let's see if it's actually sending power to the fuel pump each and every time. If it's sending power each and every time and you don't hear it run, well, it's going to be your fuel pump. All right, if you flip on the key, you've got your test light on the power lead going to the fuel pump, and it turns on. It does not turn on every single time. Well, the next place you're going to need to look is the fuel pump relay. Now, on that particular machine, it's not the socket for the relay. It's not that well sealed, and corrosion can build up down in those little connections, and it'll intermittently make connections, and sometimes it'll turn on the pump, sometimes it won't. Now, there's one other safety circuit that you can look at, and this will be if the relay checks out, then the one last thing I would look at is there's actually a flip over switch or a safety switch, and I think it's under the battery or this in that neighborhood. Now, if that thing is making intermittent contacts, its job is to shut off the machine via turning off the fuel pump. So take a look at those three things and then see what she does. Baba Yaga 415. What causes a 1999 TRX 400EX to cut out at wide open throttle? Well, one of two things, depending on your RPMs. One, it's hitting the rev limiter, or it is running out of fuel. So one of those two things is probably happening. Michael Engel had asked me, what is the symptom of the stator going bad? It's going to be affecting your charging system, more than likely. We just did a video on this. Is it your stator or is it your voltage regulator rectifier? And should you replace both? 9 times out of 10, it's going to be the voltage regulator rectifier. And why do I say that? Well, one, from experience, but two, I pulled the sales figures from Partzilla on like 3 different units, how many regulator rectifiers we sold versus how many stators that we sold, and it was about 10 to 1, no matter which unit we were looking at. But the way you test for stator, you can try doing a resistance check just to see, and that'll give you a good idea if you've got a winding that is broken, inside the coil. If you're actually trying to get a resistance read of an active coil or one that's in good shape, that's really tough, because the difference in resistance in between a complete short, even with a fantastic meter, is like 0.2 or 0.3 ohms. That's really hard for even the best flute that I know of, to really be able to accurately detect that. Best way to get a read on it is to do an AC voltage check to see if it's outputting. It depends on the machine. I've seen it as low as 25 and as high as 45 volts AC, and that's what you're really looking for. And and you need to see that voltage on each phase, going phase to phase. Now there are some out there that are just a single phase, but for the majority of them, any of your larger units is going to have three. Something really small like a little 80 or 90 cc machine, it's probably just going to have one, because let's face it, it doesn't need that much power. Rail rotor. Is it possible to overfill of the rear differential? Well, sure. I had to pour almost an entire bottle, 8 ounces, and before it came out the weep hole. I'm running a 15 Rancher. I don't remember the capacity off the top of my head. Most of the time it is around 4 to 5 ounces, but with the Rancher, it may be a little bit more. Do I know that off the top of my head? No. But if you filled it up to the weep hole and you're sitting on level ground with the machine, I think you'll be fine, because Honda doesn't do things by accident. That is for certain. Pennsylvania Ghost Diaries. My solenoid is good. My starter is fine, but still want to engage the solenoid when I push the start button. Could it be a relay? Sure. Absolutely. But most of the times, your solenoid, that is the relay for a starter or a starting system. So it's typically low voltage that is triggering that, and not another relay. A relay's job is just to be able to transfer a large load with a small wire. That's all that you're really accomplishing it. So could it be a relay? Probably not. I would be aiming more toward the solenoid itself, because I assume that you're talking about a starter that is integrated into it and not separate. Not a separate contactor is what I call them. But y'all remember to give me the year, make, and model, so I can kind of get a bigger picture of what's going on. Ray Lanzer, I keep trying to bleed the brakes on my 2019 Honda Rancher, and the brakes keep feeling cushy and soft. Any suggestions? The best suggestion is, instead of trying to bleed it just using the master cylinder, I assume you're probably working with a hand, the front brake. I've never had really good luck doing that. The best way to get the air out of there is we have one of two ways: either to backfill the system up to the reservoir, or to use a vacuum system to pull it down. I usually just use a Mighty Vac system to pull it down, because sometimes it can just be almost impossible to get the air out, especially when you completely wipe out or the system's completely opened, and just trying to get the air out of there just using that tiny little valve or the compression cylinder in the master cylinder. It's sometimes it just takes forever, or if it can be done at all. So my advice: use a Mighty Vac system on it. Ronald Smith had asked me, my 2012 Honda Rancher 420 won't start. That is unusual. It's a Honda. The neutral light is on, flashing dash on the instrument cluster. Will crank but not start. What do I check? If it's flashing on your instrument cluster, it's trying to tell you it has a code. Now, what is that code going to be? I don't know. You really need to tell me how many flashes that, if you can get back in touch with us and tell me how many flashes, I can look it up and find out what it is. But yeah, she's trying to tell you, I have a problem with the sensor that's telling me not to start. So tell me how many it's flashing, and we can go from there. All right, that catches me up for last week. Let's take a peek at what's going on this week. What all you got for me, Hank? It, y'all need to give a round of applause to Hank and maybe send him a prayer. He's been dealing with COVID all this week, and I think it knocked him down pretty hard. But yet he is still here on the job getting it done. So thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Massive Overkill. Hey, how's it going? Hey, John. No, boy. Hey, John, did you get to try the Armax dipstick for the YXZ's oil reservoir yet? No, I didn't. I forgot about it. Hank, make a note of that so I can go ahead and order one of these because I want to see how, see if it works. Kelly S. asked, I'm rebuilding. Oh, what? I like this question. I'm rebuilding a CT90 out of a 1970 Honda 90. Do you have any archived videos on this build? No, I don't, Kelly, but I've rebuilt a couple of them. And the first engine I ever rebuilt, period, I was 12 years old. It was a 1973 Honda CT90. I believe that's a K4. And I still own it. I still own that machine. So, yeah, you got a question for me? Especially on that one. I can break out my old climbers and manual and answer it for you. Cool. Keep us appraised at what all you're doing to it. I love it when people bring old Honda CT90s back to life. Matter of fact, if you look around the studio, you'll notice at the old studio as well as this one, and it's kind of off to the side. I'm staring at it right now. I have the first motorcycle that I ever learned how to ride, and it is a 1968 Honda CT90 red, of course. I was 4. Couldn't touch the pegs, so I just ride around in circles. When I got ready in first gear, ready to get off, I just start blowing the horn. Dad would come out there and walk up next to me, not really going that fast in first gear on a CT90. All worked great till I ran out of gas, then just kind of blew the horn on the way down. Such is life. Still own that bike though. She's sitting over there on the other side of the studio. But yeah, Kelly, well, let me know how it goes with that one. Hank, if you would drop in our email address, so maybe Kelly can send us some questions and or pictures as she goes through the process. Theodore Leonard is asking me, some time ago on the live chat, I had a charging and backfiring problem on my 06 Wolverine 350. Solution was the ignition coil. Very good. Did I come up with the right answer? Or probably not. I wouldn't have guessed the coil, but cool. I logged that one up there as something else for somebody to check. Mike Frost asks, should I rejet my 2007 TRX 400EX even though it's just a slip-on exhaust? Let the machine tell you. I mean, is she still pulling through the whole range and pulling strong? Have you done a plug read to see if it's trying to lean out, or maybe could you use a little bit more fuel? Do a wide open, put it in third gear, run her wide open, and then do a hard cut the ignition, let it coast to a stop, cool down a little bit, pull that plug, and see what she looks like. Do a plug read on it. All right, y'all, relax. Davis Racing Land or Water asks, what is the best size clutch weights when you go to size 14-inch rims and tires on a 2006 Polaris Sportsman Twin 400 EFI? Wow. Davis, I'm not going to be able to tell you off the top of my head on that one. The kits that we carry are either from EPI or Dynajet, and I think there's one other one. I can't remember off the top of my head. But it is a complicated set of parameters that really determine what size or what weights you need to put on any given clutch system. And you're giving me the right information with the rims and even down to the type tires. We call the manufacturers and then determine what weights have worked best for your particular application. Because that's the one thing that you didn't tell me is, all right, am I playing in the mud with this, or am I at the dunes, or am I just ripping it down through the tree lines on a trail? Because that'll also determine, how you want to clutch or weight the clutch system on your machine. But what I can do, if you give us a little bit more information, I'll make the call for you, and I will start off next week with the answer. That sound like a deal? So let me know what tires that you're running and any other modifications that you made, whether it be to the exhaust or the intake or just anything that's not OEM. And then I'll get in touch with Dynajet and come back with an answer. Sound like a deal? Well, they're blowing up my phone. All right, guys. Hank is telling me that is all that we have for this week. Anything that may have come in late that I don't see on the screen in front of me, we will certainly start off next week with those questions, and maybe I had the right answers. Well, listen, guys, we just want to say thanks for dropping by and just spending a few minutes with us. Y'all going to let me off easy today, only having to go about 15 minutes instead of the normal 30. But hey, we appreciate each and every one of you coming by and spending some time with us. Everybody have a great weekend, a great week, and God willing, we will see you next Friday at 3 o'clock. Y'all take care.